of mentors and educators, a good teacher. मेरे सामने है स्वाति धवन मैम. मैं इनसे मिली थी एक ऐसी सिचुएशन में जो बहुत ही फ़नी सिचुएशन थी, बट देन समहाउ शी इंस्पायर्ड मी ऑन दैट जर्नी, और आज वो मेरे सामने हैं और मैं आपको मिलवाना चाहती हूँ इनसे. और पर्सनली आप इन्हें जानकर इतना कुछ सीख सकेंगे बिकॉज शी हैज़ सो मच ऑफ नॉलेज ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. और ये एक बहुत ही बड़ी क्या कहेंगे उसको, क्या आप एक बहुत बड़ी हस्ती हैं?
बड़ी हस्ती तो बिल्कुल नहीं हूँ. आई एम अ मियर टीचर.
Yes, but she's a really, really good and an excellent teacher. I welcome you and thank you so much for saying yes to my episode. And मैंने आज तक जितने भी लोगों को या जितने भी मेरे mentors और टीचर्स को मैंने जब यहाँ पे इनवाइट किया, तो उन लोगों ने मुझे मेरी ज़िंदगी में कहीं ना कहीं इंस्पायर किया है किसी ना किसी जर्नी पे. तो आप भी मेरी लाइफ में एक ऐसे ही पॉइंट पर आई जहाँ पर मुझे आपकी पर्सनालिटी ने इतना ज़्यादा इंस्पायर किया कि जब आपसे मैंने बात करी आई गॉट टू नो सो मच अबाउट यू. और बहुत सारे लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि मैम बहुत ज़्यादा टफ है या बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट है, बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. She is the sweetest person I have ever met.
That is very kind of you, Vartika. Yeah, but I do give out the impression that I am, because I am an introvert.
Yeah.
I really do not open easily. But when I met you, I liked your vibe. As the students say these days, I acquire their lingo very easily. And I liked your vibe. I liked your personality, your bubbliness, and the way you smile and laugh at anything or everything. That actually, tricked me to talk to you.
So sweet of you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे है, आप इस लाइन में या इस फील्ड में आप किस तरीके से आप गए, या आपने क्या सोचा that I really want to be a teacher and this is my motive in life?
Honestly, if I tell you, I never thought or I never planned to be a teacher, and I feel nobody plans to be a teacher. That's a sad part of it, this whole profession. I got into this profession because of some life circumstances which made me actually take admission in a school, I would say. And I actually took admission in the most reputed school of Jaipur, and I began my journey as a primary teacher. So I would really tell you that was me taking admission in a school, and maybe coming out with flying colors, and I grew as my students grew. So my plan was never to become a teacher, but yes, when I joined school, I really grew with my students. I tried to facilitate as much as possible, because these days teachers are no longer teachers, they have become facilitators or moderators, because teaching always was considered to be a one-way communication, one-way mode. But I feel that nowadays teachers are no longer teachers. We are learners as well. We are facilitators. We are learning from our students each day. So I would say that I learned a lot from my class 4. Then with them I grew. I learned a lot from my class 9th and 10th students. Now Gen Z I'm dealing with. So yeah, they, more than imparting knowledge, I think I gain a lot of knowledge simultaneously. But this journey has been extremely fulfilling for me. When it comes to deal with students, I think I've dealt with all age groups, and every age group has something unique to offer, like curiosity of a class 4 child, or the crankiness of a class 8 kid, or the I know it all attitude of a class 10, and the struggle of a student who's looking for colleges and all for further studies to get admission, their anxiety. So I would say that I've dealt with all kind of emotions, range of emotions, varying from class 4 to class 12, and I feel that I've been able to cater to them as much as possible.
Right, so that's what I was talking about. You are a package. You know everything. क्योंकि आपने एक ग्रेड 4 के बच्चे को पढ़ाया है, एंड देन उसके साथ साथ आप जब अपनी जर्नी पे आगे गए तो ग्रेड 7, 8, 9 एंड 10 एंड 11, तो आपने शायद हर एक स्टूडेंट का माइंडसेट जानने की बहुत कोशिश करी. एंड बीइंग अ रियली गुड टीचर, आई से कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आपने अपनी जर्नी में जो कुछ भी सीखा, उसके साथ साथ आप उस जर्नी में सीखते सीखते बदलाव भी लाने की आपने पूरी कोशिश करी.
Definitely, because I tried to teach almost all the curriculums available. If not at a school, I gave personal classes to a few students, like my friends' children, though I never took tuitions as such, but when I was asked to help them, so I taught ICSE board, I taught IGCSE, then recently I taught IB, then I wanted to, teach CBSE, like our core board, Indian board. So I joined a school where I did CBSE curriculum for 5 years because there was a hunger in me, the greed in me to know all kind of curriculums, to know the marking so that I can help my students in the best way possible. So yeah, I was always curious to learn about new things, especially in my subject.
Right. Wonderful. And जैसा कि आपने अभी कहा that teachers are no longer just teachers, they are moderators and facilitators. So what do you mean by that? How do you want to explain it?
Because these days you can't just tell a child to do this and do not do that. You have to provide them enough number of reasons to satisfy their queries, their curiosities. Initially when we were in school, a teacher says, "Bas baith jao, baith jao." There was no if and but. But nowadays you can't even tell a child to move from this place to the other place in classroom itself. You would have to give them reasons, justification, because I find you distracted, that is why you need to do this. So you are kind of moderating the classroom atmosphere also at the same time. You can't simply instruct, do this. They would not. This is Gen Z, they would not. And I prefer students, conveying their thoughts across in a polite manner. Like we were taught, we were raised in a way that do not answer back to an elder. But I feel those instructions or that kind of an upbringing left a lot of repressed emotions in us. Because we were told, don't answer back. Why? I want to know something. If my uncle or if my aunt is telling me not to go out at night, I want to know the reason. If they're telling me to sit that way, why? Why am I supposed to sit that way? So I appreciate these days children convey. I only want them to convey it in a politer manner. So there the role of moderation is very important. And that is how you facilitate when you have a class of say 30 students. There are bound to be quarrels, there are arguments in class. Then you facilitate both the students. You have to listen to both of them. You can't tell them you are right and he is wrong. No, both of you are right in your own way. It's the matter of perspective. So I try to make the other student understand the other person's perspective. So it all boils down to sometimes perspectives also, which as an elder, I ask them, you must have faith in me, that I would understand both.
Right.
So
You
that is
can't
how
be
I facilitate.
biased.
Yeah. That is how I facilitate.
Right.
In class.
Yes. I wish.
And sometimes during a text, they would come up with, "Ma'am, we can enact this." Why not enact this? Because they are finding my teaching sometimes monotonous. "Ma'am, you have been speaking from past 20 minutes. Now remaining 20 minutes, we want to role play this." Go ahead. I allow them.
Wow.
So that is how I facilitate.
And that is how they also learn.
Yeah, that is how they learn. Yeah, that is how they feel included. Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, that is the perfect example.
That is how the learning takes place. I am speaking and my students are feeling sleepy. No point. I have given everything possible which was there in me. I poured it into their head. But if I go back and ask them, and if they are not able to answer them, it was a futile effort. I felt quite contented. Oh my God, I have done a great job. I did whatever I had to do in the class, but the end result is nothing because students were not able to answer or were not engaged enough. So as a teacher, my job is to engage the students also. Initially when I was in school, I don't think my teachers bothered whether the class is engaged or not. Their job was to write on the board, we are copying, even if we are not copying, we will do it as pending work. They did not bother. But student engagement, it's like we focus on audience engagement. You do theatre, you know how important it is to have your audience engaged. So this is what, we are running. Sometimes I would not call a circus, but we are running a show and we have to have our audience engaged, who are students.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is how I do it.
I totally agree agree with you on that, because of course, being a teacher myself, I have faced a lot of challenges.
Yes.
Where they have asked me plenty questions, and I'm like, okay, just sit down, and they're like, no, we have a lot of questions. Let us, just at least ask. So yes, I totally agree with you on that. And what all challenges have you faced? जब आपने एक, if we talk about boards, so you have been teaching in IB and now you're in CBSE and IGCSE and ICA. So what's the difference? I mean,
Vartika,
what
I would
are
like
the challenges?
It's not about board these days. It's about the schools having, various criteria to have sections. And somehow I have always been given a section of below average student, one section of extremely bright, like they call it accelerated section. So the teaching pattern also differs. Like in one class, I'm completing one topic in 5 classes, and in another class I'm expected to do it in 1 class, or sometimes because they're bright kids. So the challenges as a teacher that I face in day-to-day life are way too many. Like for one, same content I have to prepare different strategies, because we know that every child is different, right? And then every section is different now. So there are way too many challenges, and the approaches of board examinations, the criterias are different. Like if we talk about IGCSE or IB, they are more analytical, more reasoning based, whereas CBSE is still trying to match up, but we are in the process. So we are still preferring basic understanding of the text, or we still sometimes ask the students to rote learn, which personally I don't prefer. But yeah, if the need be, we are doing it.
Yes. So do you think that in CBSE, let's just talk about boards. I just need one example to let people know, and I want them to be a little aware of it. In CBSE, everybody says that it's all textbooks, right? And IB के अंदर approach is different. So किसी भी आज के बच्चों के लिए क्या ये difference बहुत ज़्यादा मायने रखता है? In that way कि अगर हम किसी भी बच्चे को CBSE में एडमिशन कराते हैं या हम किसी और बोर्ड में एडमिशन कराते हैं, क्या वो डिफरेंस रहता है उनके माइंडसेट में या उनके डेवलपमेंट में?
नहीं, माइंडसेट में कोई भी डिफरेंस नहीं रहता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि CBSE वाले कहीं पीछे रह जाएंगे. दे आर नॉट लैगिंग बिहाइंड एनीवेयर, बिकॉज इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम विद द लेटेस्ट policy NEP is evolving. So in a year or two, now we have introduced CUET, so there is no difference as such. Yeah, IB helps those students who want to go abroad, and CBSE is, it suits middle class people, I would say. बच्चों के माइंडसेट में कोई फ़र्क नहीं आता. जो बच्चा CBSE पढ़ सकता है वो IB भी पढ़ सकता है या ICSE बोर्ड भी पढ़ सकता है. बच्चों के माइंडसेट में कोई फ़र्क नहीं आता. जो ब्राइट है, जिसको पढ़ना है, वो कुछ भी पढ़ेगा.
Because people have these doubts, okay, a lot, and a lot of people ask me, because मैं भी CBSE से खुद पढ़ी हुई हूँ, and then I used to work in different schools जो CBSE थे, and then मैंने IB में भी पढ़ाया. So people ask me these really basic questions of कि how does it
the students who are pursuing IB board, they have more exposure to various strategies of learning and exposure to various kind of texts, whereas CBSE is still restricted to a particular author or writer and all. ऐसा कोई फ़र्क नहीं है. But that is more research based curriculum, and CBSE is still in the process of evolving.
So क्या आपको लगता है कि कोई सा भी बोर्ड हो, research is important?
Research is very important. Definitely.
It hardly
Whether
matters,
whether
right?
whether I enter a CBSE classroom or an IB classroom, I would research on what am I going to teach the next day. For teachers also, for students also, research is very important.
Research is very important, absolutely. तो मुझे आप सभी को ये बताना है that she is not only a teacher, she is a clinical and a career counselor as well, and she helps her student in such ways जहाँ पर actually बच्चे इनके die hard fan हो जाते हैं and they share a lot of things with her, और मैम आउट ऑफ द वे जाकर बच्चों को इतना मदद करती हैं टू मेक द राइट डिसीजंस फॉर देमसेल्व्स. एंड प्लीज़ आप उस एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में हम सभी को बताएं.
Because when I started taking senior classes, say classes 11 and 12, because of the pressure of the parents or peer pressure or the societal pressure or the students who, you know, themselves really want to outdo others and outdo their own thing, I saw them struggling with, you know, suitable career options for them, and the struggle would be by and large revolving around colleges, first streams and then which colleges to go, Indian or abroad, wherever they want to. So then I thought, why not, you know, they would speak to me one to one, like, ma'am, which course do you think I should pursue so that I get into this college or that college I want to pursue in, you know, my graduation in Ivy League and all. So I thought I must gain knowledge on that, because I can't be half-heartedly or can't be half-heartedly guiding them. So I started researching a lot on colleges and started helping them building their portfolios. Sometimes it would require some college essays to be written. Sometimes it would require me to write an LOR for them, or their portfolio building basically, like what internships should we do, which NGOs should we go for, what community services would help us reach here or there. So I started, you know, researching a lot, explored a lot on that. Then I finally decided, let me, you know, pursue a course myself in career counseling, so that I can, in a focused manner, guide them, not just random suggestions. Yeah, you may go to Harvard, or you may get into an LSR course or something. Then I decided, let me sit down with the child and let me know his, you know, his basically the thought process, like why going abroad, what does he or she want to do. Because sometimes this is such an age where children come under peer pressure, so and so is gone, so we would also want to go, right? So I had to, like, really get into the depth of the choice that they are making, and if I'll find that, you know, valid or justified, then, you know, sometimes I would have to speak to their parents also, because parents are not always convinced sending children abroad. So yeah, and when the parents refuse them on pursuing so and so course or sending them abroad, then comes the role of a clinical counselor, because children these days very sensitive, they feel depressed, they get into their own shell, they don't want any human interaction. So then, as a clinical counselor also, I have to guide them, like how to cope with your dilemmas related to career choices. So I felt in my journey that career counseling and clinical counseling, it's going hand in hand. You know, they do prepare for colleges, they do prepare for their entrance exams, and they can't get through. Then they come back to me, and then I have to counsel them in a different way. Then I'm providing my services as clinical counselor. So yeah, this is how we do it.
Wow. These things are very confident. Being somebody's counselor, I would say that it has to be confidential, where somebody is actually putting their heart out, right? Whatever they are feeling inside, their emotions, they just want somebody to listen to them. And as counselors, very helpful that if we just listen to them and keep it very confidential. But then see, I have seen a lot of people where they actually just tell everybody that this is the condition of that student or that kid. So उस पर आपका क्या कहना है?
Then they are not doing justice to their own job profile, then they are being dishonest to themselves, and I would just pity them because you are not honest to yourself. That's not done, because it is a very, I would say, it is sacred to me. If somebody is going through an emotional turmoil and shares it with me, my moral responsibility, as you know, not even as a counselor, as a person, as a friend also, like if you share something with me and I'm not your counselor, I'm not your therapist, but it would remain with me. You know, that's the most, you know, human thing that you can do to a person who's already going through something, and that person cannot deal with the after effects of sharing, right? So that's being dishonest, and that's why you know, when I observed that students had started showing faith in me regarding their career choices, their stream selection, and when they were not being catered to, you know, well by their parents, and they started sharing their emotions with me, that's when I decided, like, why not pursue it professionally? Because, you know, I seek perfection in whatever I do. That is my, you can call it a flaw also, because in seek of perfection I really sometimes you know, drown myself in a lot of other problematic issues. So, but I feel that whatever I do, I would do it with wholeheartedness and with, you know, with passion. So that is why when I realized that children are already showing their faith in me, the parents are, their parents had also started coming to me. That's when I decided that I would do both the things. And sometimes I don't even, not sometimes, I never disclose what a student told me to their, even to their parents. Right. I might convey their state of mind in my own way, but not exactly what the child told me. And similarly, you know, sometimes I feel that parents also require counseling more than the students. Because we are in that rudimentary era. Some of the parents are really in that era where we are not able to, you know, succumb or surrender sometimes. You need to do that. He or she is your own child. You can't like, ऐसा नहीं होगा. नहीं, ऐसा क्यों नहीं होगा? हो सकता है. We have to make it happen for the child. Not that I'm supporting children blindly. As I told you, I do get into the depth of their choices. What makes them choose so and so? Is it out of peer pressure or parental pressure or any kind of pressure? They are not supposed to make such decisions under any pressure.
True. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And it has been a wonderful conversation, and thank you so much for
thanks a lot for considering me.
No ma'am, it's my honor, because see, this is what I was actually talking about. She knows a lot of things about what a student might feel or how to tackle his or her parents, or how a teacher should be like. So see, there is a pattern. If you are in an education system, in an education system, I would rather say that you have to be like this. You have to be like this. It is very, very necessary to be a humble and a polite person.
Because I do hold up my boundaries a little higher initially, and when I drop them step by step. That you must have experienced with me.
Yes.
I do not come across as like, oh, we can talk to her. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I choose my people, and that is how they choose me.
Right. So thank you so much for this, and thank you so much. Thank you.